what we have here is we've got a bloody Haverpack from the D-Day scene in Saving Private Ryan. And if I haven't said it before, the first 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan is probably the most impactful war scene ever created in history. It is about as real as you get. Now, this Haverpack was used for a dummy for when it explodes, or when, like you see, a so-called dead body on the ground. Now, just so you guys know, they used a lot of dummies, okay, and they actually used real people for which to simulate dead bodies, and of course wounded and everything else. But this one, this piece was actually found later on the beach, and it's in really rough shape. But then again, it was made that way. Now, a lot of the blood that you actually see in the water, a little bit of trivia here, that was actually Jello. Okay? They didn't want to put any dyes or anything actually in the water because that would actually kill fish. Jello, which is natural, which is gelatin, would not hurt anything. And they actually poured buckets of this red gelatin into the water, which to turn it red. Of course, after a few hours, it was basically gone because it got so diluted. But this is actually covered in red Jello stains, okay? And that's what that whole thing is. And this was actually used on a body blow because of the fact that you can see the burn impact here there's just thousands of these little black burn dots, and that's from the pot exploding. Okay, well, what we have here is we have a German K98. Now, do not worry, this is not real. This is actually plastic, okay? This comes from a mold, and you can actually see the molding mark here, going all the way down, and on the other side here, going all the way up. And then this was painted, and the leather strap was actually added on. And this looks like it went through a lot of damage, so this was probably one that was used in some sort of explosion. It's only by guess, but I've got 4 of these, and this is the only one that is like this, that's got this burn on here. So this is the German K98. What we have here is we have the American version. This is the M1. Now, unlike the K98 that I have shown, this guy is actually made out of foam. And foam is light and actually very inexpensive. Foam is actually cheaper than plastic, okay? This is like a foam rubber type, okay? It's very squeezable, and they racked off about 100 or so of these, and I have 2 of these, and this one, the actual tip actually got blown off, as you can see, And this one was actually used in a D-Day. Now in D-Day, they actually had several groups. Now the reason that I know this is because I actually have the wetsuits. Now, if you watch the movie, you're not going to see the wetsuits. The wetsuits were actually hand done, and the collars are actually cut out. So the collar doesn't go up to here, it comes down to here. Eventually, I will actually show you one. But I didn't bring one back. But I've got some other cool stuff, but eventually I'll show you that wetsuit. Anyway, that was for the water. Now, the water off of the coast of France, where they filmed it, that's really, really stinking cold water. And they didn't want their actors to sit there and freeze, okay? So they actually had them in neoprene green wetsuits. And they all had a number on it, A, B, C, and D. And I've had, I believe, A, B, and C, and that is how I know that they've got 3 groups, and then those groups in the background are responsible for whatever that their role is. And of course the main people are up front. Now the people up front did not have these, because this in a close-up you'd be able to tell this thing is not real. The ones close up are blank firing, and those are done special. Alright, so that includes the BARs, the M1s, anything that was close up was actually real, but anything about 30 feet and beyond was fiberglass, wood, or foam. And the reason for the 3 that I have heard is because not one single group could do enough in time. So they had 3 groups working on 3 different versions of the M1, and most of the wood ones were for the water, and they were called sinkers, and they would actually sink this way. And I actually had one, okay? But the fiberglass ones are the more common. The foam ones are actually the more rare, okay? And so there's that. So why don't we go to that scene where these were used in, and see if you can spot them. I know I can't. You know, they did a very good job, but let's go to the scene now. Let's go.